king. A tidal wave. Essence perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're burying me, burying me. Yeah, you're burying me, burying me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. Whoa. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Can you hold my hand?
I'm never gonna look back, 'cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, 'cause that's what it takes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Not Talking Takeover. We are here to fantasy book Worlds Collide. I am, of course, Ola Dead Fries, and I'm joined by the one and only the natural Astrid Pizarro.
It feels weird. I wasn't saying that the time.
Our special guest, Jose Gonzalez from Jose on the Air. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And, of course, we couldn't talk TNA wrestling without talking to Ella J, so we brought her on as well.
Wow, thank you so much. No, I'm kidding. I'm very happy to be here.
So, what we've tried to do is we've tried to stick to rosters of people that we've seen within the last few months on all of these products. There are asterisks for people who might have left in the recent days. There are people who, a few of us who work for the companies or work well with the companies who may or may not come out of retirement for a couple of matches on these cards. We've all gone for about 10 matches on these cards. So why don't we go ahead and start with Ella. What is your first match for this show?
Should I start off with my asterisks?
Might as well.
So this is my asterisks because the one person is on the shelf currently and injured in WWE. The other was technically never signed to TNA again, but they were a pretty much regular. That is Charlotte Flair versus Mickie James, and Jose is wearing his Mickie shirt as he should be. Now, I put this as an asterisk because, again, we haven't seen Mickie on TNA in a hot minute, but in the spirit of that, I couldn't not put it on there. So that's my special asterisk. I don't know if it'll be a dark match or a special attraction match somewhere, but I couldn't not put it on there. But if you want to start legitimately... hello, Millie. Legitimately, I feel like this match may be one of the two that I think multiple people had on here, and that's Giselle Shaw versus Tiffany Stratton. I could be wrong. I don't know. I feel like they're very glamorous, very high class. First class, very sassy with each other, very fashionable. So I would love to see kind of them pitted against each other, the Barbies kind of going at it to me. So I have that as my first official TNA versus WWE matchup.
Very nice. I did not have that as a match. I have both of them on my card.
Okay.
But not necessarily in that fashion.
I only had one of them on my card.
I don't have any of them.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We all have our own cards.
Bobby Pacino throwing out one. He wants AJ Styles versus Josh Alexander. That is definitely something I thought about, but I went a bit weird on mine. So I'm going to go with the Eric Bischoff way of booking things, which is you start with a hot match that's going to be guaranteed to get the crowd up. Cruiserweight division. I've gone with my Ultimate X for the X Division title between Rey Mysterio, Mustafa Ali, Speedball Mike Bailey, Ricochet, Kushida, and Dominic Mysterio.
I had two of those against each other. I had Ricochet and Speedball against each other, but I mean that encompasses a lot of people in that X division that you were talking about.
And
Gosh,
Ultimate
you
X
guys
is
are
like
just saying
it's
names
that,
that
that
I've-
feature of TNA, and it's always that multi-man like
Yeah.
chaos dome of the match. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I feel like these guys, signify what that was.
It's got to be
especially-
Ultimate X too, since it's got to be Ultimate X since there's 6 of them.
Yeah.
Also, holy crap, I have a lot of missing people on my card. Magic Attack matches. This is fine. This is what happens when we try to book last minute and we're just thinking of like what sounds good, but not wanting to leave certain people off. It inevitably happens. If this were to be a thing, it should be like a whole weekend of shows at this point, honestly.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Jose, what do you got for your first match?
So funny enough that you say an Ultimate X match. So I am going the Vince Russo route with things, and why not just add more stipulations to stipulations? So before we even get to the Ultimate X match, we're going to have another classic TNA stipulation, the Reverse Battle Royal. So we're going to have a Reverse Battle Royal to determine the 6 participants in an Ultimate X match, non-title. The final 6 I had was Joe Hendry, Javon Evans from NXT, Ricochet, Ace Austin, Kofi Kingston, and Kushida.
Okay.
So,
That would be
My mind
carnage.
exploded.
and it's a good way to get people booked on the show because everybody can be in the Reverse Battle Royal, but just not in Ultimate. So,
Yeah.
Not the Reverse Battle Royal.
Michael, don't worry. It won't be the last time you say that tonight.
I like it though. It's definitely
No.
it is the worst stipulation in professional wrestling, right? The Reverse Battle Royal.
I kind of want to say King of the Mountain.
I don't hate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I have a King of the Mountain match with my card.
You don't hate that one.
Why?
Because, Millie, that's why. That's why.
All right, Miss Astrid, what do you got going on?
I like that I didn't make any like multi-person matches. I either had like one-on-one or tag matches. But my first one was the one we didn't get to have that I wanted to have. That was Mustafa Ali versus Wesley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted that one.
The one that that's one that Shawn Michaels tried to book before the company decided to fire Mustafa Ali.
I still want to see it.
And was probably going to win the title, too.
Yeah.
And Ashley, why don't we go ahead with you again with what's your next match after that singles match?
This is me being me, so I know a lot of people won't agree with this match, but I had to do it for myself. So I put Santana versus Damian Priest. My Puerto Rican guys. I had to put them
Alright.
together.
Not bad.
All right.
I think I have Santana on my card.
I think.
I definitely have Priest on my card. I don't have Santana.
I had both of them on my card at one point. I think I lost them in the show.
God, narrowing this down to 10 matches was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It really
I was like, 10
was.
matches, that'll give us plenty of room. And then I do it, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
10 matches is not nearly enough.
I feel like I'm booking AEW now at this point.
Magic Impact says it's the second worst stipulation. The WCW Starrcade 1991 tag team picked by a spinning wheel leading into the Battle Royal was bad.
Never seen it.
What?
It's
Terrible.
Old school WCW has some crazy shit in it. Like, there's some real crazy stuff.
I can see that.
Santana for Bruce's Priest would do go hard. Jose, what do you got for your next match?
So my next match is a singles match. I have Speedball Mike Bailey challenging Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. So this is just a very good dynamic match. It's one that I don't think we've gotten to see in any form over the last decade and a half. Obviously, with Sami being in NXT the whole time, and Speedball doing his stuff in Canada, Japan, the UK. I think it's going to be a very good complementary clash of styles. So I'm excited for it.
With one of my few singles matches, I called it the future of the business. I have one on the male side, I have one on the women's side. On my women's side, for the future of the business, Tasha Steelz versus Roxanne Perez.
Ooh,
that's a
Ricans
good
too.
one.
I feel like that one, like, that's the future of these women's divisions, I think, on both sides, in the next 5 to 10 years. They're both kind of ready to be there. And I think that would be a nice place to just kind of toss them on the card in a nice safe spot.
Would you do it for the NXT Women's title?
Yeah, if Roxanne's still holding it, theoretically, I would do it for the NXT Women's Championship. I'm hoping she loses it to Jordan Grace this weekend. I'll be honest.
I was about to say it doesn't want Roxanne as champion, so that's not great either. That's what it feels like.
AEW match card. I think we almost did. We've got 10 matches. That's way more than WWE put on a pay-per-view lately. And Dar Amazing jumping in saying hello. Bobby Cheeto also throws out Alba Fire and Isla Dawn versus Jody Threat and Danny Luna.
Yeah. I had that penciled in and then erased it to make room for a different match. Gosh, too many possibilities.
Miss LJ, what do you got for the next match?
Well, Bobby took one of mine, but I had a third team in there. I had Danny Luna. I feel like you could actually make it a 4-way potentially. I had Danny Luna and Jody Threat versus Alba and Isla versus Zoe and Shayna, because I think Shayna and Jody could do some really cool stuff in there. But also Stevie Turner and Blair Davenport have that history with each other in Japan, and Stevie has wrestled Danny in NXT UK. We didn't really get to see Stevie and Blair in NXT. We saw them hugging each other when Blair got called up. So I think that would be a really fun run for them to have if they put them back together. I know it would be 3-on-1 WWE versus TNA, but roster-wise, it's kind of like that anyways, honestly. Yeah. So I guess that would be, honestly, that's my only, I only have 2 tag matches, and that's one of them. That's a 4-way tag. Other than that, it's all singles matches. So that one is I guess my biggest one would be a 4-way tag in the Knockouts division. Honestly, half my matches are the women, and I don't apologize for it.
Yeah. Stevie Blair did team up on live events.
Yeah, not really on TV, though, unfortunately.
Unholy Union versus MK Ultra.
See, I have MK Ultra in separate matches on my card.
Ooh.
And Miss LJ, why don't you go ahead for a third match?
Well, I'm going to cook because Jose kind of said it for me. If they let them cook, Masha Slamovich versus Candice LeRae is money. They let Candice LeRae cook. Let her be her badass, violent, bloody self that we have seen going against the Russian Dynamite Masha Slamovich. I want Santino Bros, Candice LeRae against the Russian Dynamite Masha Slamovich, because if they can let Candice cook, that'll be honestly could potentially be match of the year.
That's a sleeper hit, yeah.
Exactly.
For another match of mine, we're gonna start getting into the big boys doing meaty men slapping meat. I've got Gunther versus Hammerstone versus Damian Priest versus Moose, because I had to put him on the card.
Oh no.
Versus Jake Boring, something. Versus Braun Strowman versus Braun Breaker.
Except for Moose, I like all the rest of them.
Take all the big guys that are massive and jolly and just throw them all in a ring together and let them all beat down Moose and then figure out the rest of it.
No,
I guess my card's vegetarian. I don't have a big meaty men slapping meat match on my card.
I don't either.
Me neither.
I thought about it, but I'm like, who the hell am I putting in it? And then he just lists off all these men. I'm just like, son of a...
Jose, what you got next, buddy?
Well, I have a dream match on mine. So this one is a women's dream match, one that's never happened before, one that I feel like would warrant someone coming out of retirement for it. It's also, out of all my singles matches, the only one that's non-title. I have Gail Kim versus Io Sky.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
I like that one. I don't think Io Sky made it on my card.
Yeah, mine either.
I almost had Asuka. I had so many people that I could have thought about putting.
I thought about it,
Gail.
yeah.
I just feel like having Io, who's done so much in Japan, obviously the stuff she's done in NXT, WWE, Gail getting to show everything that WWE missed out on in her 2 runs against someone with that kind of going power as Io Sky, it would be a barn burner.
Yeah, very true.
Dar Amazing says he has a weird Monsters Ball idea with Bronson Reed, PCO, Jake something, and Oba Femi. That could be fun.
I booked PCO.
I had PCO on a few versions of my card. I had all members of Damage Control at one point or another on my card.
Same.
They all kind of fell off.
Same.
So in reality, things are mostly NXT versus TNA. We decided to open it up to have a little bit more room to play by opening it up to the main roster as well.
Whether it's to a fault or not is to be seen, but
I love that one, really.
All right, Astrid, what you got for your next match?
So this one, it was tough picking an opponent, but my final pick, it's going to be Jordan Grace versus Bianca Belair. I was debating between Bianca and Jade, but I was like, I really want Bianca first, and then if I could get Jade later, I would do it.
Yeah, Astrid took one of my matches because I had that for the Knockouts title.
Yes.
And Astrid, one more?
The next one's gonna say kind of random, but I figured, as my brother says it, for the spoopy people, anybody that likes spooky stuff, I would do Rosemary versus Tatum Paxley.
All right. I don't hate that one. I don't hate that idea.
I was going back and forth on it, but
Dar Amazing has one bringing people out of retirement.
About
Satomura versus Gail Kim.
yeah.
God, if Mako was active, that would have been an easy one.
Bobby Petito is Jordan Grace versus Dakota Kai.
Mm-hmm.
Magic versus Tatum is everything I need. You could throw Su Young in there too, just for the hell of it.
I thought about it because she's still on the roster page, but she hasn't been there like more than a few months. It's been a long while. I don't even know how long at this point.
Before her pregnancy.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But she's still on the roster page. But I was like, I haven't seen her in quite a while, so I didn't want to put her in there when I haven't seen her. Honestly, Eddie, you're muted. You forgot about it.
Once a night, I have to do that. She is back on the Indies. I know that. I've seen her.
Yeah,
matches.
But she's still on the TNA roster page. So that was pretty interesting because she hasn't been there in a long, long time.
I have her on my card because she was on the roster page. I'm like, well, she's still with the company. So
yeah, I went back and forth on it. Yeah.
Mr. Jose, what you got next?
All right, so I have a match that I feel like everybody is going to have on their card. Well, I mean, Astrid's proven that she hasn't had this one on her card already because they're in a different match. I have a WrestleMania rematch. I have Mustafa Ali versus Cedric Alexander for the X Division Championship.
Yes.
One that Mustafa already petitioned on Twitter that he wants to redo.
I would like to see it.
All right, we're going to get into my big matches, my main events.
This is. Oh, I thought I was going to say that we got your big meaty men. Look how
no,
we're bigger than that.
But
we're on match 4 and majority of his main events. Oh no,
here.
This could be an AEW pay-per-view.
Team WWE versus Team TNA inside War Games.
Okay.
Representing Team TNA, Giselle Shaw, Su Yun, Masha Slamovich, and Allison Kay, taking on Rhea Ripley, Tiffany Stratton, Bayley, and Bianca Belair.
Dang. And this is one of the 3 main events.
One of my 6 main events, yes. This is
I was going to say, I still have 6 matches left, too.
We got our good friend Plucko jumping in saying, more meat. Yes, always more meat.
Yeah, gosh.
I see you, Astrid Narration.
Okay, you stole my match, Millie. I literally have Tatum Paxley versus Killer Kelly on mine. Oh, you stole my match. I literally put that on there for the spooky factor. Like, I feel like it's not only spooky, but it's also like psychotic too as well. Very creepy too as well.
Yeah.
Both have proven that they can play that, and that's exactly why. Like Tatum like, you know that tweet going around, like, name 2 people that match each other's freak? That's Tatum Paxley and Killer Kelly, honestly.
It's true.
Blame Kelly, she said it first.
Oh, did she?
And also, Bobby Petito jumping in ABC versus Nathan and Axiom. I don't think Astrid's body and soul can handle that one.
No, I really can't.
Too many of Astrid's all in one there.
Yeah.
I don't even know where we are now. I think Ella, you said that Millie just stole one of yours.
Yeah, she stole mine.
So go ahead and give us another one while you're at it.
I'm gonna save my crazy one for last. So Jose was talking about Gail Kim. I I don't think it's happened. I don't see any avenue where it would have happened. I had Gail Kim versus Bailey. I feel like I don't know why. I just feel like style-wise, they're kind of similar. They're both vets in the business. And I feel like Bailey could very well, not that Gail needs it, but I know she was nervous about like getting back in the ring. I feel like if there's anybody who could protect Gail, it would be Bailey. And I don't know whether it'd be heel or who would be heel and face, but I think that would be just a good solid match all around. Two very respected women in the business, vet versus vet. I would love to see that.
They probably have similar dynamics to like a Sasha Bailey match, honestly, with how
Yeah.
Gail wrestles. So I think that'd be great.
Billy says she's not taking the blame for this one. Magic Impact kind of wants Finn and Carlito versus ABC. Pluggo brings up Heath Slater versus Drew McIntyre.
That's true.
For my next one, I have what I call best in the business. Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch versus Jordan Grace versus Asterix Gail Kim. I think if we're going to bring Gail Kim out of retirement, there's no way in hell she doesn't feel comfortable with these three.
Yeah.
And I think this is the perfect place to put somebody like Gail Kim because her and Jordan are the Knockouts division. Without them, it doesn't exist. Without them, it doesn't do anything. It never reaches the heights it reached. And the same thing for Charlotte and Becky on WWE side. So I think that's the match we kind of have to have at some point, one way or the other. And that's why people like Jordan, Charlotte, and Becky weren't in the War Games match today. Jose?
All right, so I have one that I know no one's going to pick. I also don't know why I picked it, but it sounded good when I was writing it down, so we're going with it. I am calling it the Broken Stables 6-man tag. So I have Trent Seven and the Rascals teaming up against Newcastle Republic, so Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, and Wes Lee. A very interesting dynamic shift because you have British Strong Style separated and you have the original form of the Rascals separated. So who the hell's to say what could happen in this match? Someone's going to do this for themselves. I don't know who it's going to be.
Yeah, someone's going to turn on someone.
Really must have to the Match Your Freak match.
We could very well, yes.
Doris
I feel like every time we say Match Your Freak, we need to send to Najee royalties, so I don't know.
The D'Angelo family versus the FBI with Nunzio, Ray Jazz, and Zach Clayton. Ashton, what you got next?
This one I went back and forth on. One of the people in the match is Deonna, but I was thinking of how I could have the best friends in here, but I still will be missing one of them. But I figured I'll change it up and put one of the horsewomen in here somehow. So I have Deonna versus Charlotte Flair.
There you go.
Dream.
We did allow Deonna because while she is in AEW, she was recently on Impact Television.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit of back and forth between the two companies.
Yeah. I really wanted Deonna versus Chelsea versus and Britt Baker, and I wanted that 3-way there, but that can never happen. They're always in different companies. Come on, people.
I had a hard time trying to place Marty Bell. Like, I think if I were to replace Su Yung with somebody who's been on TV more recently, I think Marty would slide in that slot because she does kind of represent TNA. But those Team TNA, Team WWE matches, most of the people in those matches, especially on the men's side, it gets real dicey because a lot of them have been back and forth.
Yeah.
So it made those kind of hard. Bobby Cheeto saying Tasha Steelz versus Fallon Henley.
That's a good one, yeah.
Jose, what we got next for you, my friend?
So remember how I said it won't be the last time you see Reverse Battle Royal on the card?
Oh my God.
I mean, what you do to the men, you do to the women, although it's different. So we have a women's Reverse Battle Royal, but instead of it being the first 6 in the ring, it's the first 8 in the ring to have a Money in the Bank ladder match.
Okay.
And the contract's good for the women's world title, the Knockouts title, and the WWE women's title. My final 8 for this match include Tasha Steelz, Masha Slamovich, Michin, Chelsea Green, Steph DeLander, Naomi, Natalia, and Ash by Elegance. So we have some women that have Money in the Bank experience. We have some women that have been former Knockouts champions. I mean, definitely good mix of everything. I was trying to think of ways to get women on the card. On the card. Will this be the first women's Reverse Battle Royal? You know, don't know. I feel like they might have done one women's reverse battle royal actually back when they were doing. It was on a pay-per-view in 2008. Someone could fact check me. I believe there was a Knockouts reverse battle royal.
Might be.
Yeah.
All right. I gotta go comedy at some point, and I went comedy here. And when you go comedy, there's only 4 people you can include together: The Miz, R-Truth, Johnny Swinger, and say his name and he appears, Joe Hendry.
I had a version of that match, just split it in half. I had a version of that.
Yeah. I just
Also,
thought, because I wanted Joe Hendry versus The Miz, and I wanted R-Truth versus Johnny Swinger.
Yeah.
But I was running out of matches, so I was just like, if I sandwich it all together, it works.
Yeah. Also, to fact check, I do have confirmation. The Knockouts reverse battle royal was actually for the Queen of the Cage at Lockdown 2008.
There we go. Miss Ella, what you got next?
Well, you kind of said mine. So I had R-Truth versus Joe Hendry, or LA Knight versus Joe Hendry. I feel like they could match each other on the mic. It kind of depends. Do you want like a mic battle or a comedy? So you kind of said mine. But so there's another one that the matches happened before, but one of them is in TNA now. And also, so I have Braun Breaker versus Nick Nemeth. I want them to run it back. I feel like those matches weren't really appreciated at the time, and now Braun's obviously improved now. Nick is now a champion in multiple companies. Nick can still make him look good while getting all of his stuff in now with the more creative freedom that he has. I want to see what they can do with less limitations, like creatively. So I would love to see Braun Breaker versus Nick Nemeth run it back again.
I like that. Bobby Tito says Mustafa Ali versus Javon Evans would be nice. All right. In my King of the Mountain revenge match, I have for the WWE Championship Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles versus Drew McIntyre versus Nick Nemeth versus Eric Young versus Matt Cardona.
Dang, is Cody losing?
On the TNA roster page.
Yes.
I think the idea of putting a lot of the guys who kind of went back and forth all into one little bubble, it kind of, I think that could be a whole lot of fun. Cody finding his feet outside of WWE on the indies in TNA. Obviously, AJ Styles, Drew McIntyre kind of doing the same as Cody. And then Nick, Eric Young, Matt Cardona, they kind of just all make sense.
Yeah. Can I have one request? Can we get Broken Dreams?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. Jose, what do we got next for you?
Well, I mean, Astrid already said this one, but Jordan Grace versus Bianca Belair was on mine for the Knockouts World title. I'm debating if I have like an alternate match to put in there, or if I just keep it on my own personal card and we just keep it for final judging, but...
Yeah, just keep it on the card.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess great minds think alike. I feel like we got to see them interact a little bit in the Women's Royal Rumble this year. I feel like, especially with Rhea being injured right now, this is one of those matches that just kind of makes sense because you have power for power. Jordan also is a little bit more technical. Bianca does a little bit more high flying stuff. So really just kind of see who is the true alpha woman of either company.
Yeah. Astrid?
This one for me, I needed a little bit of this representation because I like my high flyers a lot, and I don't want to say it like that, but a lot of them end up being Hispanic. So this one ended up being Dragon Lee was Laredo Kid because I really love my high flyers to like match up. I really like that style.
I was thinking about that. That'd be a fun one.
Yeah, I mean, I have Laredo Kid on my card in a slightly different version, but the same idea. Jose, back to you, man.
All right, so we are getting into my last women's match of the night. It is for the WWE Women's Championship. Bayley defends her title against Giselle Shaw.
Here we go. Very
I mean, we've seen Giselle have those big matches with Jordan really step up and show out. Got to see what she's done in a few Ultimate X matches. So when she's battle tested, she prevails. So I'm excited at the prospect of something like that happening.
Bobby Tito thinking on the same Giselle Shaw line, but going with Chelsea Green. could be something fun with that. Let's see. For my only real like tag team match, I have a 4-way for. I don't think any of these teams hold tag team gold right now, but I have ABC versus GYV versus the Usos versus the New Day. Because
See, GYV was not on my radar because they've been in AEW.
they're apparently, again, I went by the roster page I found. They're apparently on the TNA roster page. I know they've shown up at TNA shows. They did work at TNA within the last few months, I want to say. They worked...
They were definitely at Hard to Kill.
Yeah. So they've been there recently.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could sub GYV in for the Rascals. You could sub GYV in for any TNA tag team at this point. Because like I said, I don't have a lot of them on my card. So I think that you can substitute GYV for a couple other teams if we need to. But I just feel like that would just kind of put the tag team division on notice, and you can just kind of do it all at once. And a little bit of fun there. Ella.
I also have a tag team match. Technically, they're free agents now, but like Motor City Machine Guns, I feel like I had to book on here. I have them against the Street Profits, kind of mixing that high-flying attitude, but they can also bring the swag, the Motor City Machine Guns and the Street Profits. I feel like they can do something hardcore, high-flying. Dawkins can do some strength in there. I feel like you can do many things with them.
Yeah, I like it. Let's see. I'll go to my Laredo Kid match with the male version of the future of the business. I have Laredo Kid taking on Carmelo Hayes. Because I have to find a way to put Carmelo Hayes on this card. And caveat with this one is it's with Trick Williams. I'm putting Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes back together for this one.
I thought about that too. I went back and forth on that.
Yeah.
Jose?
So we're getting into my semi-main event. I don't know if this constitutes as big, meaty men slapping meat, but it's definitely two big men. I have Josh Alexander challenging Damian Priest for WWE's World Heavyweight Championship.
Nothing to argue about on that one. That one looks like something fun.
No.
Yeah.
Astrid.
I think I got skipped for the other one, so I'll do both now.
Sorry.
I had women's tag because I wanted to have at least one of the women's tag matches here. So I have the Unholy Union versus Spitfire, which is Jody Threat and Luna. So I really wanted to have that there. For the men's tag, I wanted to reunite the Usos versus the Rascals. So I like that mix there.
Yeah.
They are amazing jumping in saying pre-show WWE versus TNA Battle Royal for the Digital Media title. I was not in any way, shape, or form going to put Tommy Dreamer on this card. Because I believe
He's not the champion, though. No.
Is he still? No, he's not the current champion anymore?
No,
I don't even think
it's
Crazy
the Radio
Steve is
Kid.
anymore. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
It's
know.
the Radio Kid, I think.
I
It
didn't
is.
realize.
Yeah.
It is.
Bobby Tito also throws in Joe Coffey versus Moose. All right. By my math, are we on our final match in the main event?
I have
now?
2 more.
You have
Yeah.
2 more?
I have one more.
So
Yeah,
we'll go
2.
back to Astrid and then to Ella, and then we'll start doing main events. So
Well,
Astrid,
this one it was mentioned by Ella a little bit ago. So, but still, it was 2 of my people because I feel like they could have a good back and forth on the mic. So I really wanted to have that. So LA Knight versus Joe Henry because say his name and he appears, and I feel like Joe Henry can have some fun with that too. So I really wanted to have those 2 there.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of people off my card.
Ella J.
I'm gonna save my crazy one for last. We're talking about, Gunther's weapon is what, his chop. How about we have him face the walking weapon, Josh Alexander? Obviously, longest reigning TNA champion in history, Josh Alexander, versus the longest reigning Intercontinental champion in WWE. And they have their own little bit of weaponry puns in there. So, and they're both big. They're not the biggest guys, but they're both very strong and big guys in general as well. So I'd like to see how that combination would work out.
Yeah?
Damn, I really love Gunther off my card. Son of a bitch.
I think I'm the first. Am I the first one to say Gunther, or did Ed
No,
say
I had it
Gunther?
to make me
Okay,
slapping me.
that's right. That's right.
For my main event, I went back to War Games. It's the men. Team TNA versus Team WWE. Josh Alexander, Jonathan Gresham, Crazy Steve, and Eddie Edwards versus Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Sami and Kevin kind of like fall into this Team WWE thing because they don't really they never had a place in TNA. They never went there. So I'm like, they can feel like they can kind of come back to that. And I feel like that's the biggest match you can kind of do and still do some of the other fun stuff as well. Jose?
So my main event is a singles match. I feel like we've had this in some way, shape, or form, but obviously times have changed. So I have Nick Nemeth challenging Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Both men have really matured over the years. I think it'd be a really fun way to have them reunite once and for all.
Yeah. We've got apparently a spoiler for this week's show with the current digital media champion being AJ Francis. Even less reason to have the digital media championship on my card if it's with Flop Dollar. And Billy says maybe Rhea versus Kylan King when they're back. Yep.
Yes.
I thought
That
about
was
that.
on my short list at one point, but people got to fall off.
God, so many
Ella,
people
what do you
left
got
on the
for your
cutting room
main
floor.
event?
Oh, this is the main event. You know what? I didn't save this for my main event necessarily. I just saved it because I think it was the most out there match. So we all know like PCO is like the human Frankenstein. Like he is not like human, right? And so he's kind of supernatural. So I guess this would kind of be a 2-on-1 scenario, but I have PCO versus Uncle Howdy and Joe Gacy. Because Joe Gacy is obviously, we've seen him in the Asylum match. He's also very kind of unhinged and crazy, and he's very unpredictable. And Uncle Howdy brings in that mystery and that supernatural stuff there. So Uncle Howdy wouldn't necessarily have to maybe he would control Joe Gacy is what it would be, you know? But it's kind of just that supernatural carnage, like non-human aspect that I thought PCO versus Joe Gacy maybe under the spell of Uncle Howdy or something like that, or a 2-on-1 I think would be so interesting to see play out.
Yeah. We got Dar Amazing said, could Kofi and Xavier challenge the TNA tag? I didn't know who the TNA tag champions were, and when I was doing the list,
I think it's the system. I'm pretty sure
Yes,
Teddy had
it
words
is.
in
I
Brian
was
Myers.
much more impressed with putting them on.
It's on the roster page, Ed. I thought you were on it. What happened?
Yeah. I wasn't paying attention to who had titles. I'm just like, these people.
These people?
I see the system and I just stopped paying attention. Uh-oh. I think we broke LJ.
No, she went up for a moment.
We have Kylan King versus B. Priestley or Blair Davenport now. That would work. And yes, it's the system. No wonder why I forgot about it. It's the system.
I'm like, the roster page has the champions at the top, and then everybody else. How could you miss
so
it?
my roster page has everybody, and it has little titles in the corner, the very.
So which roster page did you use, Ed? Because I went to TNAWrestling.com.
I just typed in TNA 2024 roster, and it just gave
What
me,
the heck?
I didn't go to the TNA roster page, the actual official page.
I went to the official page and I compared people.
Do my job. I mean, I did. I kept Brian Myers off a very important show. I feel like I did my job. I would have let Moose off too, but feels like
I did leave Moose off. What's your point?
I did leave him up on purpose. I don't want him on my card. I'm sorry, Moose. I don't want the slip of Moose to be on my card.
I feel like I could shove him in that meaty men match, and I think it'd be okay.
Yeah, that's.
Ella has returned after the chaos of that one. Astrid, I think we're last with you for the main events or the last matches.
I didn't think of this as the main event, but now seeing the card, it screams main event to me, and it's two of my favorites from both companies. And I don't know if they faced each other before. I don't think they have, but if they haven't, I really, really want to see, especially modern day version of both of them. That's just something I would like to see. So that's Josh Alexander versus Seth Rollins. Two of my favorites.
I couldn't figure out the perfect Josh Alexander singles match. So I'm like, we could do this, or we could do that. And I'm like, screw it. He goes in the big match with a bunch of the guys that I wanted to wrestle.
Yeah, no, that one's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Just because Josh has the wrestling range really to compete against anybody, and it would be fun to watch. So,
yeah,
just
there's nobody he can't wrestle, which is why it was kind of like, which route do I go?
It's the best problem to have, really.
Well, I think we've all had a bunch of fun here. I think we've all had some good cards. And for the most part, we all booked mostly the same people.
I definitely had some glaring omissions in hindsight. Again, this is all fantasy. Apparently, my fantasy this afternoon is different than my fantasy this night, but...
I mean, at one point, I had 2 Royal Rumbles on this card as well.
I mean, you're gonna have some Rumble or multi-person match. I already had 12 matches. I was like, we can just throw people together then.
I mean, that's why I had 2 reverse battle royals, for God's sake.
Yeah. In my Rumbles, I think I had SDL and Gunther winning my Rumbles.
Good
I
option.
think that's why I would have put those out. We're going to go ahead and do some great plugs before we get out of here. Miss Ella J, what have you got coming up that you can actually talk about?
I
have so much you can't, so I'm just curious what.
I have an interview being released this week by Jeddah. She is wrestling her retirement match this weekend at Pro Wrestling Eve. It'll be her and Charlie Morgan and Aaron Angel versus Charlie Evans, Millie McKenzie, and Nina Samuels. So I got to speak with her ahead of her and Charlie Morgan's retirement. So that'll be going out on WrestleZone. Have some stuff coming up next week for Clash at the Castle with a familiar face here. You'll have to stay tuned for that. Otherwise, you can follow me on Twitter, like it says below, at It's Ella J. If you go to the link in my bio, all my links to all my projects, podcasts, and writing are all there in one place for you.
And Mr. Jose.
So I have a busy week this week. So not only am I going to be streaming twice this week, tomorrow on Twitch, I'm doing some Tekken 8 stuff. Also going to be live on Saturday with some Jackbox. So twitch.tv/Jose on the air. I am lucky enough to have a sponsorship now until June 26th with HelloFresh. In my pinned tweet, if you want to find me there, Jose in the air. My show, my guest at this time, is on my YouTube page. I just had Jamie Apps from Perio Magazine. This coming Monday, I will have a comedian as well as a ring announcer and commentator on the indie scene, Chris Gullo, and also an exciting Clash at the Castle pre-show with a guest that is waiting to be announced. I'm just finalizing those details too, so be on the lookout.
Fun. Miss Astrid.
Well, first you can find me tomorrow with this one right here, Taking Over. We're actually doing something tomorrow, if you didn't know. Trying to think of now based on the days. So Friday, Friday, is it that we're releasing the preview within Cat?
No, we're moving that to Saturday because Japanese Wrestling Update's coming out on Saturday.
Okay, but Saturday then, and then Sunday we have the I was gonna say Battle Royal, thanks to all the words in here tonight. Battleground post show with DC Hendricks. I did have today earlier at the new interview that came out with Jessica Troy, talking about her PWA Heavyweight Championship, like her defending the championship. So talking about that, I think that's it for now, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, and there's a Ladies Fashion Showcase coming up on Friday. Yay! Something new at least.
I'm so happy.
I know you missed it. Other than that, you can find me. Yeah, don't watch it beforehand. Just letting you know. I know you have access to it. You can find me on my Twitter, Blue Skies, astridpizarro, Instagram and Threads, astridpizarro20, and everything else will be on my YouTube channel that you can subscribe to.
And of course, you can find me on Twitter at edfries12584, on Twitch at twitch.tv/edfries2002. This week, I have Taking Over with Astrid on Tuesday. On Saturday, we'll be releasing with In Cat We Trust. We're going to go ahead and do the preview for NXT Battleground. DC Hendricks on the post show after Battleground on Sunday night. Next Wednesday night, we are going to be joined by Lauren Goodnight as we go ahead and talk all things Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier. So we're doing our MCU recap on Marvel Talk for that next Wednesday, so definitely make sure to go catch that out. Let's see, let's catch up with the comments. Now I'm trying to figure out dream matches for my boys. Eric, it's Crazy Steve. Millie's not ready. Bobby says, great show. Thank you. We had fun with it. Like, this is one that I was like, let's just kind of throw this together and see what happens. But thank you all for joining us. We greatly appreciate it, and we will see you all next time. Goodbye.
You're never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step